like the way your friends operated? Like, which one?
No, I feel like more of my cousins, my family. Like I was sheltered pretty well as a kid, so I didn't have a chance to understand what society was saying or not. But no, I just mean like sort of like the example that Rick put in the Facebook group was like, why you crying? Like boys don't cry. Like if I got hurt or something like that. And it's like, what are you doing? Like the boys don't cry. You gotta suck it up. You just gotta learn how to. And so my whole life I was just like, okay, I gotta suck it up. I gotta suck it up. I can't cry. Like, even now, like I think it's weak when a dude cries. Even though I know it's not. I know that. But
Mm-hmm.
something in me is like, nah, dude, soft. Like if somebody dies or if you get shot, like those are the two like it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, like, bro, I don't wanna see hear you crying. Like I don't that's weak to me. You know what I'm saying? And even though I realize even as I say it that that's bad, and I tried like since we got married to be a little emotional and be like, I feel you. I understand. I hear where you're coming from. Like I try to be like way like when we watch TV shows, so I'd be like, this dude is like you crying again? Like nobody died, you weren't shot. Um
So do you equivalate showing any emotion at all? Like, it doesn't have to be crying, but just like the level of vulnerability. Is that also something
I
that's
feel
like
like
a weakness?
no, I feel like it depends on the emotion, it depends on the context. Like sports games, I think everything is go. You can cheer, you can be mad,
Oh yeah.
you can cry. But I mean like if you like cheat on me, I'm not gonna cry. Or like if I get fired, I'm not gonna be like, I just feel like my life is like I just don't do
Okay.
that for me. Like anger is a good emotion. That's it. Anger is the one that covers everything except happiness.
So your emotions are happy and anger.
And
Happy, neutral, anger.
yep,
Okay.
I don't like the way you said okay.
So that's not really good, but okay.
No, and I realize that. And so I think one thing that I like from here is like I think that it's important to have. So I'm gonna say this so people don't get upset with me. So for my life, Jesus is the person that speaks to the winds and the waves
Mhm.
in our lives and our marriage. I think, and I think that if you don't prescribe to Jesus, uh, I think that's important for couples to find something, whether it's a counselor, whether you just read a bunch of books and like try to figure it out. That there's something that needs that. Oftentimes we just speak to the waves and the
Mhm.
wind and the winds are still blowing and we don't understand. Like I thought we talked about this 2 weeks ago. Like was like you spoke to the result of the waves. So like you spoke to why you snap off of me like that, and it's like cause I'm stressed. I had a bad day at work and you getting on my nerve and blah blah blah. But the underlining issue is still there because it hasn't been spoken to yet. And so I think that it's important to especially for marriages, to like you have to continually because storms are always gonna pop up. Somebody's a saver, somebody's a spender. Uh, somebody, you know, expects you to be more emotional about bad news. I know that was something that you and I had an issue with because you'd be like, I'm this happened and I'm emotional and I'm mad or I'm worried, and this dude just walks around the house like he don't care. And it's like
Mhm.
for me, I just that's I just process that's all I do. I like um that's just kind of me. I try not to freak out about things. And then most of the time I'm just processing like, okay, this is what's going on. How do I get out of it? What do I do? Blah 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 blah. I'm just processing the whole time. So, yeah, I just think we can talk about men and women and the differences and all that stuff, but I think a lot of it is how you're brought up. Like there are guys that I know that come on our show a lot that I consider more emotional than I would like to be.
Than what you personally feel comfortable expressing.
Yeah. I try to explain things once or twice, and then that's just like that's just it. Like I'm good. I'm not gonna like be like, my queen is da 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 da. Like I be feeling like people be doing too much all the time, but that's because I feel like you don't need to do a lot. Which I'm not saying is great. I'm just saying that that's kind of what happens. And so yeah, I mean that's pretty much kind of my standpoint. I think it's important to hit both, and I think oftentimes, especially in married couples, when you like Nikki, what's up? So I won't say for married couples, I'll say for me. I know a lot of times, like once I go with something 2 or 3 times, after that, to me, you just don't want to do it. And personality, yeah, because we're all shaped by our experiences mostly. And so yeah, I agree with that. I think that
Hi, Brittany.
Oh, the engaged one. Hey girl, congratulations.
Newly fianced.
Yes, newly fianced. Yeah, but I just think that that's important, that and then that you have an understanding of what type of person that you're married to, and that you try to communicate in a way that they understand.
Yeah, I think that when you go back to having conversations about how people were brought up, like the way that we experience maybe our parents or our families going through something shapes how we will, go through something as an adult. So, I get older, I get married. My expectation is when something happens, we talk through it, we make a plan, we're going to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Yours may be
allegedly. You say allegedly, you speak on my name.
No, I'm really kind of just
we
using you and me and
no. Go ahead.
I am not I'm not calling nobody out. Yours might be, let me back off a minute and let me process. Which isn't, and like Ashley said, like that's my personality is to kind of fix it. So I need working steps and actions to see how we're going to fix it. I need I need to see the plan laid out. That's what helps me process and kind of take the problem hold, so to speak, where you're different. And so if you're different, where you process everything internally, I may take it as, oh, so he doesn't care. Yeah. But it's not that you don't care. It's just, like you said, a difference in personality and a difference of how maybe we saw problems dealt with growing up.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the areas that we've had success in, so I'll share vaguely. I won't put everybody in our business. When we were first married, and I was a bum, and we were struggling financially, like there were certain things that happened, and you'd be really upset. And I knew you were upset. You wanted to talk, but in my mind, it was like guys always provided. Or even if we weren't struggling, if we just hit a bad rut or we paid one bill we weren't supposed to, and here comes another bill, or the unexpected $600 car thing, it would be like, okay, I know that guy's gonna provide, so I'm not upset. Like I don't, I've learned not to worry, because at the end of the day, the bill gonna get paid. bill will get paid or it's not. Once we know, we had to honor that and find the middle ground and do not make them do things our way. I agree with that.
I agree with that.
I also think what the middle ground is very important, which for me goes to like who speaks to the winds and the waves. Like, do you be like, man, this wave is stupid. I don't want to be in this boat no more. Or do we have, I think the one good thing for Siobhan is like we have the same person speaks to both of our storms.
Mm.
And so there's common ground because we can go to, prayer, or we can go to the same book, or, whatever. And again, for some people, it's Jesus. For some people, it's Buddha. For some people, it's the universe and energy and, whatever. To some people, it's therapy. To some people, it's Jesus and therapy. And, praise God for all of that. But I think it's important to like find something that speaks to the things you see, and for us sometimes to take a step back, because I had to do this in different relationships, like with my marriage, with some of my friendships, even like my parents when I was younger. If they would say something to kind of go off on me, and I'd be like, it's not that serious. Sometimes, not even most of the time, but sometimes I would have to take a step back and be like, what's the real issue? Because I didn't do nothing to you for you to go off on me like that. What is the real issue? And I know if you married to somebody and that happens 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, it's hard, but sometimes you gotta be like, okay, let me take a step back and try to like either talk to that person, or with that person, like you're not married to them, talk to my husband and wife, or maybe I don't say anything and just think like, okay, what's the real problem? Like, what's the real issue going on? And I think, sometimes we can avoid fights. We can avoid being unhappy for 10, 20 years. And also learning, now that I know what causes a storm in my spouse's life, I'm not going to put those things in motion to do that. Kind of when we were going back talking about like, can your spouse have a friend of the opposite sex or just a friend? I think my true answer, even though y'all was up there talking crazy, y'all women, but my true answer is I think it depends on the person. Yeah, y'all was wild, but I think it depends on. But I can't say nothing because my guys ain't have my back. So
because they got on here and said the exact same thing.
I think it depends on the person. Like, I'm kind of if a person gonna cheat, they gonna cheat. So I don't really put no effort. Like, if you met somebody, y'all was friends and y'all was hanging out, I just wouldn't care. I wouldn't be calling you when you come home, like, let me see your phone. Just because, like, in my experience, if a person is gonna cheat, they're gonna cheat no matter how hard you watch. And I wouldn't have married you if I thought it was like that. That's it. I ain't want to put your name out there, but since you let the girl know, that's cool. Yeah, that's just kind of how I feel. Like Rick, my boy Rick is very honest. He's a very honest person in general, but with his wife, he is brutally honest. But that works for them. So her background may have been, I don't know. I don't know what it looked like or what his background looks like. So I just think it's important as married people to like, we need people to speak to the winds and the waves in our lives and the storms, because a lot of times we in like 10-year storms. And then be like, we just grew apart. It's like, wow, y'all been the same people since y'all been married. You just can't take it no more. This same thing. So I don't know, babe. Do you have a wind or a wave that you could talk about in our marriage and how you kind of got through it, and how, or maybe there's a storm going on and I'm just not aware? Just on this boat chilling, thinking this
a
all
storm going on, and you just sitting here like do do do.
yeah.
No, not currently. Probably currently. But something that
Past or something.
what'd you say?
Something maybe in our past or something like that, or something
Right.
we have to figure out.
So I think like how can I say it? So a thing that was kind of was rolling, I'll say, because it would happen and then it'd be okay for a while and then something would happen and then it'd be okay for a while. Was
just spit it out. Go ahead.
And I'm trying to, I know, I'm sorry. I'm trying to
Just
figure
say
out a way to say it.
No, just say it. I
felt like, okay, so the wind part or the wave part would be like, I would be frustrated with you. I would be frustrated either that you weren't talking. I see you.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
Looking at the camera, like
Yeah.
looking at the camera. I would be frustrated because either you weren't talking how, like I knew what was in your head. I knew something was in there. I just knew that you weren't expressing it. Or
Because I'm a real man.
no, sir.
Go ahead.
No, sir. Or like maybe situations weren't going like how I had intended them to do or how I had wanted them to work out. And then it took a while in different instances for me to realize that those were the waves. Yes. And I would be frustrated and it would cause tension between us. And it would be, I would say something, you would say something, or I would do something, you would do something. But the wind of it was
That's right, Rick.
So, Rick, be quiet. You don't get a vote. The wind was twofold, where the part that was unseen. One, I didn't realize at the moment, but I realized later that you weren't doing what I wanted you to do. Essentially, that's what it came down to. You weren't.
Never mind. I'll get to Brittany later. Go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you, Brittany. I like that. Real men can definitely express their emotions.
You know that there's always women who say that?
Men will say this too.
Find one for me. Andrell, stay out this conversation.
No, Andrella's man.
Quincy too.
No, what? So you can't invalidate people you may not agree with. Moving on. So the wind of it was, essentially, I realized you weren't doing what I wanted you to do. I had a plan of how things should go, and you didn't react how I wanted you to react or listen to my advice or anything. And then over time, I realized that it was an issue that I had of control. And I didn't realize that I had control issues. And I'm not saying I no longer do. I'm not saying that. But the issue is control. And when I think about it, hey Phil.
Oh my boy.
When I think about it is, like I was an only child, and I was alone a lot. And not in a bad way. I was just, as only children are, kind of by myself a lot. So I had kind of control of the atmosphere. And then when I moved out and went to college, I really kind of grew up quickly and worked to support myself. And so I was just really independent. And that was one thing that was definitely taught to me. So coming into a marriage, I just thought that you should do what I thought you should do because my ideas were better. But essentially that was it. Like I know it sounds crazy, I know. But those were like the underlying things, when I look back at like why I was frustrated or the real root of maybe why, this situation became an upheaval. It had something to do with control issues and had to do with my fear of uncertainty. Because it was a lot of times we were like, okay, I don't know how we're going to get out of this. Or I don't know, like, how we going to get around this or whatever. And the fear of uncertainty is a huge thing for me because I'm a planner and
Yeah. No, I get it. And so I guess
for you, uncertainty is like, we'll see.
No, we'll see. For me, I feel like when I look at the Bible and I look at faith, it's all uncertain. Like God doesn't call you to do things that for sure you can do on your own, because then you don't need God if I could do it on my own. And so for me, like there's been time like my life, I guess pretty much even still is like based on faith. Like I don't need to see, I just need to know that God told me to do something. And I'm gonna just do it. And I don't need to see the end result. I'll kind of just walk and just trust that God will not let me die on the way.
Okay.
Which I realize is not necessarily the best thing to do in marriage. I mean, or the safest thing to do, unless you have a partner who, which again is my fault because it goes to communication. Like I never communicated that with you. Like, look,
right.
If we gonna be married, you kind of gotta, you're gonna have to trust God to do a lot of stuff, because that's just how I live my life. And so I'm curious. Let's see. I'm gonna invite Ashley. The man Phil. And
Ashley said Dre, I like that kind of faith. And I also understand how that could cause major strife for Siobhan. Yeah, it's like you like that kind of faith and it sounds cool when it's not happening to you. You know what I mean? Like all the stories of the Bible, like, wow, that's a great story. That's a great man of faith. But then it's like when it's happening to you, it's like, Lord, no. Why?
Can you highlight what Charles said? I can't read because say what Charles said.
Charles says it's because it's on the screen. It's rolling with the punches. I get that because I'm very similar.
Exactly. Real man.
Yeah, I'm not and then like Dre rolls with the punches. I'm not that kind of person. Not fully. Like I think I've loosened up over the years, but that's not in my nature.
Several of you guys have invites. Oh, my boy. What's up, sir?
Hello.
Miss Anderson.
We on the same screen. It's been a while.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
But Mr. Anderson.
What's up, sir?
How you doing, sir?
I'm all right, man. I'm a little sick, but then I'm trucking along. Hey, it's a few of y'all that got an invite. Check y'all your Facebook Messenger. Of course, that's the prayers.
Tell Rick Carrigan, Rick, how you doing? Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, tell my guy Hennessy what up, man.
I will.
Tell him pardon me for letting 33 minutes go by without saluting my boy.
Oh my gosh.
Pardon me. The great Hennessy boy, man. So let's start with Miss Ashley, since she came on here ready to go to war, fresh off a yoga session.
I'm not going to war today.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say there's an area in your holy marriage? Not that Hennessy will ever do anything wrong, because he wouldn't, but that area of marriage that was like the winds and the waves, or like there were certain areas that you saw but didn't kind of understand why it's like that. Why you was hating on your boy from the comments. Let's talk about you.
Nah, I don't be hating. I think a lot of our 15 years together have been the middle ground. It's been the winds and the waves. Okay. And a lot of it for me, I can't speak for him, but for me, it's been figuring out what works for me and why I respond the way I do to certain things that he may say or certain things that he may do. and working through that on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to realize that I couldn't, and it's kind of my personality. Like I can't fault him for everything because I know that I'm not perfect. But the things that would irritate me, I had to figure out why they were irritating me.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's been very consistent in our entire marriage. But as you know, like the things that are cute day one, are not always so cute like day 3000.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to, like, that was something that I had to work through.
Right.
And I had to figure out for me and what works for me in that in between. Like if we can't come to a common ground right away, I had to learn how to just kind of step back and let it be and let it play out. Because in the grand scheme of things, like big picture, is everything really going to work out? It is.
Yeah.
That's just my take on things. That's kind of how.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Phil.
I like that. I rock with that.
Oh no, I done been in a couple marriages. So, you know, I think, you know, I'm just gonna comment like from what I was hearing when I came in on Siobhan, and she said like the uncertainty and she a planner. And my last ex-wife, she was a planner like that. And I'm a kind of like Dre, like I'm gonna roll with the punches and see what's going on. You know, because I'm not a big planner. I don't set things out and say, okay, I'm accomplished just like this and that. I kind of let it come to me, and she wasn't with that free balling.
Right.
You know, she didn't like that, and
Very
I was
difficult.
trying to set in my ways. And I said, if things gonna work, they gonna have to go my way. You know, and it was kind of like that. And in order for me to gain control of the situation, where I could harness my emotions inside of, you know, trying to figure things out. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And a lot of waves in that was because the job thing. Sometimes I would be working, sometimes I wouldn't. You know, money wouldn't come in like it was supposed to. And our lines of communication were down, especially when you started to go through things in the marriage. Instantly, you got, you know, you take your corners, and it's like a fight. You know what I'm saying? Because you just like, I want you to see it my way, and you just don't initially just hear the thing you need to hear from your mate. You know what I'm saying? In the times of whether it's good or in the times of good or bad. Just for me, you know, communication. Like I gotta hear you talk. I gotta understand. I would rather you be direct than for you to say, "Well, figure out." No, don't let me figure out nothing. Tell me exactly what I need to hear and what I need to see from you so I can execute whatever it is so we can move that out the way. Because just me, a lot of times you don't have a woman that's direct like that, then you get all these cross communication to be all wrong. You be all the way east and you should be at the west address. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
You know, and I know for men, you know, a lot of men that don't plan like shit, I'm just gonna take this thing by the seat and I ride out, especially if you get with a single man that's don't have no kids or nothing. That man really ain't got no plans but to, you know, be free balling as it is. Because the truth of the matter is that women give men some type of direction, you know. But that's about it, boss.
Okay. No, I think that's cool. So, I had a question and then I just forgot. So I know we got Charles. We have a couple other non-married people on here. What advice would you give them for like handling storms that come up? My advice, I just want to say, starting off, is just talk about it like when you engage, like get them things out. Like I'm not a marriage counselor guy. I know that's something we'll talk about on here. I'm just not a fan. But pre-marriage, let me say that, premarital. But I do think it's a good thing to talk about some things. And I really don't know how you bring up like on the second day, like, hey, where we going? By the way, could you please explain to me your childhood traumas? Like, I don't know if I don't know if that's an easy way to do that. But I would say, like, man, find out, first of all, I would say take your time. Like, don't get engaged in 3 months. Like, take your time to, like, learn the person, learn their family. I know one of the best pieces of advice a man gave me was, like, if you don't get married, look at her mama. If her mama fine, she gonna be fine when you get older. If her mama ugly, she gonna be ugly when she get older. So,
her mama could be fine and crazy though.
Shout out to my mother-in-law. You know what I'm saying? Shout out, I see you.
Which is my mother.
Yes,
she's not crazy, but she's something.
Crazy. But no, yeah. Also, like, yeah, if her mom been to like 5 mental institutions in 10 years, that may be something you need to consider. Was kind of, I was trying to say this for another episode, but I don't know if I can duck and dodge it without it. I think a lot of people get married for the wrong reasons. And then we get into such a rush, or maybe not the wrong reason. We ignore all the warning signs because the person is so cute and because of what we like and because they feel 5 out of 10 things on this list that apparently most women have. It's like, he cute, he got his own job. I mean, I know he a serial killer, but other than that, he real sweet. Like, he won't kill me. You know what I'm saying? Or like guys, we be like, man, you know what I'm saying? She fine. Like, I know she don't burn 8 dudes, but you know what I'm saying? Not me.
What?
I got that fireproof. I got that fireproof D. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
And then you get married and you burnt all up, and then it's like, well, what happened? I'm being OC, but seriously, like, I think there's a lot of major things that we overlook. And guys, a lot of times, like, we just want the draws that bad, and women want whatever it is that they're looking for that bad. That
definitely think we could spend a whole show on that.
Yeah,
I just think it's kind of crazy. Somebody could ask, excuse my language, but you could ask a girl or a man for some ass before you could ask them about, what's going on and what ails you before you sleep with them. Like, that's big, and that's like that's disturbing. We do that. Like, you'll rather undress somebody and see their nakedness before you ask them to get really naked in front of you. You ask for the wrong nakedness. You know what I'm saying?
The wrong intimacy.
You know what?
Yeah.
Well, and I think that is because that's what's in front of us, right? The sexuality piece is in front of us. That's like the easy thing that we all see growing up on TV, on the internet, whatever it is. That's what we all see. And so nobody, and I grew up in the home with both parents. My parents are still married, but I never saw them really have a discussion or a disagreement, even though I know they did. Nobody is teaching us about, like, to me, I've come to know marriage as the ultimate exercise in unconditional love and getting to know another person. I mean, you think about it, it's the first time that you're really signing up to get to know somebody else. You're raised in a house with people, they know you from day one, and y'all are all growing together. And in a sense, y'all are all kind of the same, like, y'all know each other's ins and outs. But when you sign up to marry somebody, you don't know what they're coming with. And even feel to be able to ask them, or even to Dre's question, be able to ask them, what are your childhood traumas? Some people don't even know. Like, I didn't even know the kind of stuff that affected me in my childhood until now I'm 40 plus.
Right. And then
I'm
now
realizing,
right. And then you talking about like winds and waves. It's like we can see the waves and feel the winds, but it's like we don't know from what direction it's coming. It's like, I didn't know that was trauma.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of us, especially in our community, like, I didn't know that was abuse. Now a lot of things are coming out about mental health and all this. And so it's shining a light on, like, let's say our generation childhood. Like, what do you mean that was abuse? That was just normal. You know, so I mean, I completely agree with you when you come into, like you said, and I like the way you said it, Ashley, when you born into a house, you know, those people are raising you and y'all growing together. When you bring two separate people together into a marriage, baggage and craziness, but it's not visible at first. And then you see it and you're like, what's going on? And you don't even know to ask because maybe what he went through or she went through is inconceivable to you.
Exactly.
And now both of y'all doing this.
Right.
Don't even know why.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing that I think has helped me just recently, I'm real big on just personal development and knowing myself. I'm like a junkie with personality tests and things like that. But one that I've been using recently is called StrengthsFinder. And I think it helps so much to know what your strengths are, because even when you're going into a relationship and you don't know, I mean, you know, your spouse's background looks good and their parents look great and family looks great.
Right.
But just like on a day-to-day basis, kind of like Dre and Siobhan, you were saying, Dre operates one way, Siobhan operates another way. It comes down like fundamentally to who I am now. And a little bit to Dre's point, like you can't always lean on the things that happened in your childhood. You have to go on where you are right now. So even knowing what your strengths are and how you operate is helpful. Knowing that for yourself and then knowing that for your spouse as well. So it's not such a struggle. Like Siobhan, if you knew straight up front that Dre is just gonna kind of go with the flow, and that's like who he's going to be day in and day out. You accept that and you walk into that and you're like, all right, I'm cool with that and I'm gonna figure out how to deal with that. Or you like, no, that's not gonna work for me in 5 years. Like that's straight up gonna piss me off and I don't think I want to deal with that. So I think knowing up front just what your, like how your person operates and how you operate is a really big deal. Like even if you don't know those questions to ask, you don't know to ask, you know, what happened in your childhood, you can talk about, oh, this is how I operate right now. Like I was just telling Hennessy this weekend, I don't particularly care to plan things. And when I have to, it stresses me out. Like even something as little, we did a staycation and finding a hotel, that stresses me out. So then now the kids are asking me questions and I'm getting pissed for no reason. I was like, you got to handle this. Like they need to bring all questions to you. And he's like, all right, cool. I can do that.
Of course.
Like, I can make a decision.
Hennessy was doing it anyway. You ain't got to tell him nothing.
Whatever. But I think it was good for him to know that. Like he could probably see that I was getting frustrated. But for me to say, hey, this stresses me out. I need you to field all questions from the kid. And he was cool with it. He was like, all right, bet. Tell him to come to me. All questions. And it worked for us. And I think this was probably the first time in a very long time, or if ever, that I've let him know what my strengths are and where I was losing all my energy. And then knowing that I can lean on him for that because he is a decision maker. So it's just little things like that. That, I mean, maybe your childhood shaped us. Our childhood shaped us to be that way. But now we can rely on that.
No, that's what's up. No, I think that's dope. I also think that sometimes like we want to get married so bad, or in this analogy, we just want to be on the boat. We don't think about the storms that's coming. We don't even take into account the winds and the waves. We just want to be on the boat. And this is sort of off the subject of not. I think one of the things we can do better as a church is like we had to stop pressuring people to get married. You know, brother, it's better to marry than to burn. Yes, it is. But like, I just feel like we've moved hormones and sex of the subject, and that's why like a lot of people, especially in the church, get married. Like we either were sleeping together, or we know we about to because we can't hold on no more. So we jump into marriage and we don't take into account the other 50,000 things that come along with marriage. Or you have people who just want to be on the boat because of society pressures or whatever. It's like, I just want to be in a boat. If the winds come, because we all always think we can handle it when we're not in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, whenever this happened, I got that. That ain't gonna be a big. So it's like, oh, well, when winds and waves happen, they got scared, but I'm not getting scared. And it's like you want to be in a boat so bad, and then you get on there, and you like, what the heck am I thinking? You know what I'm saying? Even when you use the context of the story in the Bible, Jesus had just got done doing a miracle. He had just, at least, well, depending on the book you read, he had just got done feeding the 5,000 with a 2-piece dinner from J&J's and some bread. And he fed 5,000. That wouldn't include women and children. And they was there and saw it, was on the boat. And then as soon as the storm came, they got scared. And God was like, what? You just saw, like, I just did this. I just did a miracle. And now you crying to me about, like Jesus was asleep. He wasn't, and this wasn't like a little storm, like this is on the sea. It's like a real storm. And he's asleep because he's not worried about it. And they like, you gonna let me die. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, a lot of times we get in these marriages and we get in the storms, and it's like, you know, sometimes it feels like you said earlier, Ashley, like eventually it's gonna be okay. But when you in that thing, sometimes it feel like we not gonna make it out of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of guys like, if I go to bed dry one more time, and ladies be like, if you
roll over and tap on my shoulder one more time.
Tap on my shoulder one more time. Or if you sit down playing Xbox while I'm dealing with these kids and they climbing all over me, you act like you don't see it. One more time. And then you got the nerve to tap me on my
shoulder. Yeah.
And you forget that it's gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? Even if you just got over a storm. You know, it's the same thing with disciples. Like, you forget that the miracle worker is on the boat with you. You know, so I just think that, like, again, I think that's why it's important to have common ground on who or what speaks to your storms, because those situations are going to happen. There's going to be multiple storms throughout your marriage.
And it will almost throw you out the boat.
Yeah, it will almost never not be a storm. You get a small period where there are no storms, where you actually have joy.
Yeah.
But I think having a life partner is kind of like, part of its functionality, I think. Like, when the storm comes, how does this work? So Siobhan and I don't argue. I know when Siobhan's mad, we probably had 3 arguments that I can remember. And it's not that we don't get mad at each other. I just know, I know when Siobhan's mad, and I just be like, I'm gonna give her some space, and she does the same thing. But we have our things that pop up.
Yeah, I think, we've had 3 arguments our entire relationship. And in the midst of each of those arguments, I was like, I don't think we gonna make it past this. Yeah.
Wow.
You said the same thing too, sir.
Had a brother bass pack, and I didn't even know. I was wondering what it was.
No. I'm not saying I packed your bags, but I'm saying, like, the argument was so intense. I remember thinking, I don't know if this is reparable. You know, but, like, yeah, we don't argue, but I think that we have figured each other out enough to where we know that the first thing I need is space. That's the first thing. And so I try to respect and giving him space, and not like be a nag, even though I really because I want to know what's wrong, what happened, who did it, did I do it? Let's talk about it, blah blah blah. And he doesn't respond to that. You know, like, he doesn't. The tick 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 is not something he responds.
Yeah, I usually need time. Like, when I'm mad, I need time to calm down and process. That's just me. I don't want to answer a whole bunch of questions when I'm mad, because I'm gonna say something that I either don't mean or I do mean. I just don't want you to know that's how I mean. So I need to go to my corner, turn on a rap battle, urltv.tv, by the way.
Wow.
Or, you know, pray or whatever I'm gonna do. I just need to get my mind off of it, and then when I calm down, I can come back to it. But what I'm saying is, to people who are single or might be married, I think the important thing is, like, don't be in such a hurry to jump on the boat.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? To all my Christian friends, I'm not saying shack up or whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is take some time to learn what you're getting into. Like there's a scripture that says, what man builds a house before he counts up all the costs? And I think that's what we do, because the world is like, you don't need to get married, just a piece of paper. Like you just sleep around and just have a life partner. Y'all can be loyal. You don't have to stand in front of all these people.
Mm-hmm.
And so to counter that, we're like, no, you need to get married at all costs. Like if you're thinking about, if you go on 2 dates and you're having a good time, I just feel like God is calling y'all.
Wow.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just feel like neither extreme is right. Like you just have to take your time, figure out, and then just be honest with yourself. Like you may like them, they may be cute, y'all might have a lot of things in common, but what you have in common is not what keeps you married. It's how you handle your differences. At least that's what I always tell guys. People may have a different opinion, and that's okay. But I always tell dudes, the girl you want to marry, the thing that gets on your nerve the most about her, can you live with that for 50 years?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't, then don't marry her, bro. Because that's what it is. Like,
that times 10.
Yeah. Like, what are I learned Siobhan's absolute no-nos before we got married. And I'm like, okay, can I do that? Yeah, I cannot do that for a while.
That's good that you knew that before y'all got married.
Yeah.
That.
Well, I think our distance forced us. Like all we had.
We were long distance for a little over a year before I moved here and we got married.
So it was a lot of 5-6 hour conversations. You after about the first week, you don't kind of ran out of all the love you what you doing this weekend? Like the same thing I've been doing the last 8 hours you called me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of got into like, what's your family like? What's your family like? Well, how you grew up? Well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? I remember we did a thing where we were like, write down 25 questions that you want to know, and you can't get mad or nothing like that. You got to answer and tell the truth.
Honestly, and you can't get the other person can't get mad.
Yeah, we did that maybe 3, 4, or 5 times. We were like, if we were in person, and I don't want to seem like I'm like Romeo because I'm not. Because if we was in person, I probably would have been on something else. I would have had another list of 25 things, and it wouldn't have been nothing. Never mind. But you know what I'm saying? I think those things helped us. So I think that like just making sure you spending time and just getting to know somebody. Like marriage is big, but it's even bigger and affects more people. Divorce.
Yeah.
And not saying that like if you plan out and take 50 years, that's guaranteed that you're gonna stay married. What I'm saying is you kind of want to just know what you're getting into. And again, count the cost before you build this house. Because when we promote marriage, we promote the windows and the kitchens and the bathrooms and the cabinets and the brand new floor. We don't ask, hey, did y'all build a foundation?
No, we didn't build a foundation. We just put all this new stuff up.
But it's like, well, the foundation is trash. But look at these windows though, bro. Like the whole neighborhood gonna be able to see. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, I know she crazy and she got attitude. Like, bro, if she doing that before you get married, if she checking your phone before you get married, you know what I'm saying? If he not coming home until 3 hours after he tell you before he get married and he don't answer your text, it's not like getting on the boat don't change that.
Yeah.
They the same person on the boat that they was on the shore, and now y'all just in closer quarters and y'all depending on each other now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I just don't know who he is. He was the same dude he was before y'all got married. His stroke game was just A1. You know what I'm saying? And he bought you some.
Like that.
You know what I'm saying? It be like that a lot. And I would just say, don't ignore the wins and the waves either, because they're gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna come. I'm sorry, I took up too much time. Siobhan, what do you have to say to the singles out there, or the engaged, or whatever's going
on? I don't think anything new. I think that you really hit a lot of it. And you know, it's kind of like we're not saying like, oh, don't get married because it's so hard. Like, no, marriage is wonderful. And I think one of the advantages in my marriage is that Dre and I are genuine friends. Like, even before we're husband and wife, he and I are genuine friends. And I genuinely enjoy spending time with him and just doing nothing. Like, whatever. Don't move your lips like that. Like, one of the things that, you know, like before COVID, that we used to love to do together was go to the grocery store. That's not like super exciting, but it was our time together. So, like, you know, be a genuine friend to someone. Like, could you marry your best friend? You know, like the person who you know in and out, the person who's, like Dre said, you know, the thing that irritates you the most. Can you live with that? And then even on a heightened level, because things intensify as you know, you get married and get older, and then you add kids and houses and all that stuff. But I don't have anything really else to add. I think you hit a lot of it.
Yeah, I was talking along that I wanted to. Miss Ashley, what do you have to say to the young Ashleys out there that's about to find a Hennessy? Oh, shut up.
I would say, Dre, like you were saying, know that the winds and the waves are going to come. And make up in your mind that I'm going to be here to fight for that. I was recently listening to an Instagram live that some women were doing, and they were saying there was one woman who was married and another who was not, two other women who were not. And the one who was married was saying that she and her husband have an agreement that, you know, till death do us part is not necessarily, doesn't have to be a thing. You know, if you don't want to be here, then I'm not going to make you stay. Mm. And I think, and it may, and I'm not going to say, you know, I don't think this couple has been together for 10 years. I don't think it's something that is like, oh, you're not cute today, I'm out of here. I don't think it's that frivolous. But there are going to be times where you look up and like, oh, this is what we're going to do for the rest of our lives? Like, I don't know if I want to do that. But that's just part of the ebbs and flows, and that's part of the winds and the waves. And do understand that that is going to be a thing. And you know that you've got to work your way through it, like work your way around it, figure a way out of that storm. That's part of being in a relationship. And that's part of just knowing yourself, knowing another person, because if you leave that relationship, you're gonna take you into another relationship. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be the same thing. So just know that the winds and waves are going to come. Know that there are going to be times when you roll over and look at your spouse and be like, you know what, I could do without this. And just know that that's today, you know, and then kind of be like, all right, I can go about my day.
Hey. I could do I'm only laughing because it's true.
I'm saying, you be like, you know, I don't know. I mean, I can go back to my mama's
that's real.
house.
That's real though. That's real though. Ask a lot of married people, and they will say to you, there are times that they look at their spouse and they go, "Why did I do that?" Like what? Yeah. It's a real thing, and those are real emotions that are going to come up, and it's okay. But like she said, it's temporary, and you decide from the beginning that.
So Phil, as you go into your next marriage, which you know is coming up,
please don't. You gonna have last week. Not ever come back.
Phil is gonna hang up on you.
All right, he ain't got my new address yet.
Bro, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, rap.
Take a look, ladies. Take a look, ladies.
I told you that, man. There you go. Okay. True. I didn't make my contribution to the boat. I'm okay. Hey, I'm fine to ride in the speedboat. I do not need to be on the yacht. I see y'all when we get there.
Funny.
So do you have any advice for a young guy that's gonna get married about the winds and the waves that's coming, how to prep for it?
No, it's just be honest, man. Just ask questions. Like that thing that you and Siobhan did when she said y'all was like, y'all had to write them questions down. It's like, honestly, man, humans finding out who each other is before you go in that door. That's just what it is. Communication is everything. Only answers not asked is the dumb ones. You about to commit your life to a person, and that's a lot. And we take that for granted sometimes. Like, yeah, oh, through good and bad. And when that bad show up, you be like, you know what?
Hmm.
I don't like the fact that your ear lean anymore. I thought it was cute the way you held your glasses up before, but that's disturbing. You know,
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm just saying, like, so, communication, man. Get to know who that lady is. Ask about her mom and her dad. You gotta ask them questions, because if not, you be like the big fella. You see where I'm at on Friday? I'm on Rated M Live marriage. I'm on Rated.
Sorry.
You see what I'm saying? So
You so stupid, bro. That's hilarious.
that's true. I'm just saying, man. That's the truth. Ask
Oh
the
boy.
questions, man. And I like the fact that it's actually like, hey, be direct. Because if you're not direct, man, a lot of shit get looked over.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. So just being direct, that's it, bro. Know the woman you dealing with. Try to dig as deep as you can, and understand that you want to get a naked, but which naked you want to get. And I just didn't. I learned that as I got older, and that's just the truth. I had to learn that as I got older that you really got to ask background questions and really listen and
Yeah.
ask the direct questions. I know as crazy it is, as wild as it sounds. My grandmother was super direct, and that's who raised me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like kind of super direct in everything I do, and sometimes that can get you in trouble. But when you about to commit yourself to somebody, shit, you better ask every question. So you mean to tell me you got your small toe chopped off, and you was good with it? You sure? Oh, you didn't mind, or it doesn't bother you that your left foot is an 8 and your right foot is a 9? Okay, okay. Oh, you already know you got you a crazy one.
Fair.
you, know what I'm saying? Like, like, oh, okay. But all in all, with all the fun, man, communicate and just be open. That's it, Dre. And
Right.
don't be on the Rated M show for marriage and you single on a Friday night
Hey,
at 9 o'clock.
single people is welcome, man. We trying to give
Definitely welcome.
we trying
No,
to
I'm
give
just joking.
we trying to give them game. You know what I'm saying? So they jump in that thing. So I guess lastly, what I'll say is, I think even more important than all that is having something or someone to speak to the winds and waves of your life, because there's a lot of times that we just can't do it. Oh, like there are certain things. Well, even before we get that deep, maybe people who watching this aren't saved or Christians or whatever. I think it's important for you and your spouse, again, quoting this wonderful book, equally yoked. Because if I'm, for example, Muslim and Siobhan is Christian, and we get into argument, and as a Muslim, it tells me you love and make peace with your spouse no matter what before the sun goes down. And Siobhan's reading the Bible, and the Bible's like, if he disrespects you, cut his head off. Then we have two different ways of looking at the resolution of this storm. So I think it's important to, whether you go to church or not, or again, whether it's a therapist or just friends and good counsel, like there has to be at some point someone or something that speaks to your storms when you're married. When you're single, I mean, whatever you do to make a better you is cool because that affects you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're married, I think it's very helpful to have two people that have the same source.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? To that, Dre,
Come on, set me straight.
You were saying, when you're single, whatever works for you works for you. I think that is the same in marriage, because if I'm upset with Hennessy, and this is just me, I step back and check myself first.
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever is going to work for us in marriage is something that would have to work for me as a single person. Like wherever I get my peace from, wherever I get my resolution from in times of trouble, that has to be the same thing that works in marriage. And I would even argue that even coming from different religious backgrounds, and I mean, maybe yes and no, but I think if your ultimate goal is unconditional love, regardless of what book you read from, because all of them are pretty much go back to unconditional love. If that is the ultimate goal, then I think it can be worked out. But you have to decide, if you're in the midst of the winds and the waves, each person has to decide, my ultimate goal is unconditional love. However I can get there is the way I need to get there to come back to my spouse and be the best that I can for my spouse.
Amen.
You gotta really like your spouse.
What'd you say?
Oh no, I was talking myself on. I just said you gotta really like her. You gotta. Really
No, I agree. I think so. Okay, so I agree. Let me clarify. I don't even necessarily mean just religious. I just mean like, okay, so let's say, for example, I guess what I'm saying is there's a storm, right? And so let's say for me in my single life, I don't want no storm. So if a storm comes, I'm gonna jump off the boat because that's how I find peace. I'm just getting off this boat. That's it. And I married Siobhan, and Siobhan is like, I may freak out, but I can't hop off the boat because that's just not how I was raised. I need to stay on and just trust that I'm gonna get through the storm, whether it's God, my therapist, whoever. If we're married, I'm trying to jump off the boat and grab Siobhan, and Siobhan like, no, like I'm staying on. That's the only thing I meant. Why I think it's important to find common ground and a common source. And again, that's just me. If whatever works for your marriage is fine. I just think for me, I know what's helped me with and Siobhan is that even if we can't, because honestly, there's some things that like Siobhan just ain't going on. It don't matter how peaceful I put it or how nice I try to say it, she ain't going. And there are certain things that Siobhan does, I'm not going, and I feel a certain type of way about. But what we can do is we both find our answers in the same place. So it eliminates, it don't matter how I feel. If we both saying that this is how we live our life, what does this say? How am I supposed to respond as a husband?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I lay my life down as Christ, or I have to love her like Christ or the church. Christ died. There's some days I'm just being real as a human. I don't feel like dying for my wife today. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like going to work in this warehouse, this 12-hour shift where I feel like I'm wasting my life. But it ain't about how I feel. I have to work through it and do that. That's all I meant. For me, that's just kind of how it is. For us, that's worked. And then again, actually, what you said works for you. Like it's like I just need to find my peace. I need to check myself before we can even have a conversation. I need to go check myself and see how I feel and accept how I feel about it. Like I don't think that's wrong. That if that works for you and Hennessy, that's great. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I just hang around the wrong people because I know people. There, two people who are married, their definition of unconditional love is usually different. You know what I'm saying? Like unconditional love may mean to one person, I'm gonna love you through anything. I don't care what you do. You cheat on me 5 times, I said unconditional, that's what I'm gonna do. There's other people like, you got 1.5. I'll let the first one slide, but if I see you texting somebody else, I'm gonna throw you out the boat and drown you. You ain't gotta worry about the storm. I am the storm. I'm going to kill you. You know what I'm saying? So
that needs to be part of the 25 questions up front. What is unconditional love to you?
Yeah. And then a lot of times it's like, I want unconditional love, but I don't give it because I ain't never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get it because that's gonna be a whole nother topic. But
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be just my advice. Anybody got anything else to say before we check out? Oh, sorry. Well, go ahead, and then I'll.
Oh, that's right. No, the last thing I was gonna say, and I think it was to Phil's point, when it comes to like asking in-depth questions. Another part of that is being honest with love. You know, like instead of saying things because this is what I know he wants to hear, or this is what sounds nice, or this is what good girls say, or nice guys say. Maybe that's not how I really feel or how my personality really operates. So I hate to say brutally honest, because when you're brutal, you can be rude. So I don't mean that.
Well, shout out to my boy Rick Cash.
Stop it. But what I mean is just speaking 100% honest, but saying it in love. You know, so that would be it.
And then also to that,
my boy Charles, I see you.
I was going to say also to that, Siobhan, is receiving in love. Like knowing that you may be asking a question and in your mind, you may be wanting to receive a certain answer. And if you don't get that answer, then where do you go from there? Is it just one question? I don't get I mean, it's like bouncing after one question, or it's like, okay, let me move through this a little bit more and see where it goes.
That's very true. Thank you. Yeah, that's real.
All right. So I just got a couple quick announcements before we go. For those of you who are on Instagram, we have the Rated M Show on IG. We'll be doing different stuff than on here. So you have IG, give us a follow. You know, take your phone out, take a quick screenshot, or you just inbox me later. Whatever. Same difference. And then we also have our Facebook page. Because what we're gonna start doing is these like lives will be up on the like our profile pages or whatever for like a day, and then I'll delete them and put them on our YouTube page. So if you want to rewatch, we have our YouTube page. It's all Rated M Show, the Rated M Show. All of our lives are on there. We also have a couple pre-recorded things on there. And so in March, we are going to have a sexologist.
A Christian sexologist.
Oh, sorry. A Christian sexologist on here.
Get out there.
It'll be a pre-recorded show. It'll be on YouTube, but the people that's on our Rated M page will get it first. And then so that'll be the first. It'll be the first week in March. I'll announce it on the page what day, but it'll be the first week in March. And then after that, we're gonna actually have a conference for married couples and sex. And she's a Christian sexologist, but she keeps it
100%
all the way real. So for my guys out there, let me tell y'all how real she keeps it. So we were just talking. She was like, "Yeah, I just did like a convention or whatever where I was showing women showing married couples how oral sex is based in the Bible." She was like, and I just walked them. Feel so stupid. And she's like, you know, I walked them through it scripturally. You know what I'm saying? So things like that. Like she ain't this. It ain't like, you know, y'all just need to pray before you go to bed. She gives the whys and the hows, and sometimes the whats and the wheres. So yeah. So just some things. We have some other things planned too. Just to, you know, we just want to add value to people's marriage, and you know, for our singles to kind of have a sneak peek in and hopefully give some goals to meet. And you know, for our divorced family like Phil, you know, we got some resources coming for that too. You know, so we just you know, for Radio M, we just kind of want to build a community and a family that can just build value and just help people heal where they need to heal, give hope where they need to give hope. And if you're on that boat, give you a couple life preservers if you need it.
Because those winds and waves are coming.
Yeah, I don't get to say, or I forget, but I want to thank everybody who comes on the live. Like, I know y'all could be doing other stuff on Friday night. We appreciate the support and everything that y'all got going, and we love y'all. So we pray y'all continue to come back. I know during the week, I'm definitely praying for y'all marriages. I'm sure Siobhan does the same. Yeah, and we just love you guys, and we look forward to seeing you next week. I'll be better next week. My voice and energy. I'll be back. Don't worry. But
guys, love you guys.
I love y'all. Shout out to my boy Hennessy. You know, shout out to Steve. Shout out to Steve.
Really?
Hey, man. Hey, listen. Shout out to Karina. You know, the people come on here. You know, they got people in the background, especially my boy.
Right.
Ace to the Indy. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So,
wow.
Phil, I see your little girl driving and stuff. You know, just keep doing good, brother. Just keep doing good. But all right, y'all. We'll see you next Friday. Thanks for joining.
Bye, guys.